Joining me now, the mayor of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Cavalier Johnson, a Democrat. Mayor Johnson, thank you for being with us tonight. I know that you are a Democrat, and you are, as a Democrat, still deeply involved in bringing the Republican National Convention to Milwaukee, now exactly 1 month away. So how did it feel to hear the presumptive GOP presidential nominee, Donald Trump, had reportedly told House Republicans that your city was, quote, horrible just 2 days ago? Of course, Trump's now denying this happened, but which kind of conflicts with what he and other Republicans in the meeting have said since? But still, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, thank you, Reverend Sharpton. Look, when I heard the news and I started hearing some of the Republicans who were in the room talk about what happened, some said that he was talking about crime. Some said he was talking about election integrity. Some said he was talking about, just the city. Some people said it didn't happen, right? It seems like they were just kind of twisting themselves into pretzels trying to figure out what it was that the former president was talking about as it relates to Milwaukee. I'll tell you this, that the Republican National Committee itself, we've worked very, very closely with them over the course of the last 2 years. They've been great to work with. This is another example, though, of Donald Trump being an outlier in the Republican Party, right? The Republicans in the RNC itself, they've visited Milwaukee many times. They found this city to be a marvelous, splendid, terrific, wonderful city, so much so that they're hosting the 2024 Republican National Convention here. And I think that when they get on the ground, including the former president, they'll see how great of a city this is. And all of them will go back to their homes all across the country and start telling the positive story about Milwaukee, that this is a terrific city.
Well, in fact, I've been to your city many times. It is a great city. In fact, I'll be there the eve before the Republican convention, keynoting for some faith leaders and civil rights leaders in Milwaukee. It's a great city. But whether it's Baltimore, Washington, Atlanta, or New York, Donald Trump, like many conservatives, has consistently bashed cities led by black mayors. In the case of Milwaukee, Republicans who were at the meeting swear he was talking about violent crime and voter fraud. Yet Milwaukee police have said that crime, specifically homicide, is way down in the city this year, while the FBI this week just confirmed a historic drop in crime nationwide. And of course, with regards to the 2020 election, no fraud was found. So what's the point of these attacks, Mr. Mayor? No matter how they say he was talking about it, it just isn't true.
Again, this is not something that's surprising, right? Donald Trump saying something that is not fully true. In Milwaukee, I'm proud of the fact that over the course of the last 2 years, the 2 years that I've been mayor, we've been working to increase safety here in this community with a focus on two things, accountability and prevention. And that's worked as we've sought to make sure that we drive crime numbers down in the city, working in conjunction with the Milwaukee Police Department, working in conjunction with our Office of Community Wellness and Safety, working in conjunction with the private sector, growing jobs and nonprofit organizations so that young people have opportunities here in Milwaukee. But you're right, Reverend Sharpton, whether it's Chicago, whether it's Washington, D.C., whether it's New York City, or now Milwaukee. Right. These things, these cities, these places have something in common. And certainly you've got leadership that is diverse, but these are big, diverse places where people from different backgrounds and a whole slew of places and diversity come together and call home. I think that's what the former president seems to be targeting.
Well, and I might add, you might not have the problem because he's going to be sentenced before the convention. And if the judge decides to put him in jail or give him home confinement, he may not make your city at all. But Trump will visit the neighboring city of Racine, Wisconsin next week as his allies scramble to either deny or downplay his comments or offer some justification for them. What impact do you anticipate that this will have on the convention?
I think that Trump's comments about Milwaukee and calling it a horrible city. Look, this is, again, the most diverse place in the state of Wisconsin, and the former president is trying to make inroads with African Americans. Well, guess what? the vast majority of African Americans in the state of Wisconsin live right here in the city of Milwaukee. And it's not even just African Americans' home he called horrible. There are tens of thousands, literally tens of thousands of Republicans who call the city of Milwaukee home, who are raising their kids here, who are helping to bring up their grandkids here, who are connected parts of our community, tens of thousands. And Wisconsin is a state where elections on a statewide basis are decided on a razor's edge. So to insult the city that's hosting your national convention with groups that you're trying to make inroads in, and groups like Republicans who you lost many of to Ambassador Haley, I just don't think it's a smart political strategy.
Now, Mayor, before you go, and I appreciate your time, Donald Trump is in neighboring state of Michigan today. His campaign is in its view, they're aggressively supporting courting black voters. Here he, just moments ago, holding a roundtable in a black church in Detroit. But later this evening, he's also addressing a conservative conference known to attract white supremacists. It'll be laughable, were it not, for months of polls showing diminished black support for President Biden or showing Trump having made inroads into the black voters, which could hurt Biden in some swing states like Michigan. Are you concerned that could happen with Milwaukee's black voters?
Well, I'll tell you this, Reverend Al, is that every single vote counts. President Joe Biden understands that. That's why he himself, the Vice President, Kamala Harris, have been here time and time again, asking for the vote and showing African Americans here in this city and in this state the positive things that have come out of their administration for black people here in Milwaukee and across Wisconsin. And I'll tell you what, just a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go out to this community festival called Heal the Hood that we have in Milwaukee. And I engaged directly with black men there because I was hearing, this noise about Donald Trump trying to get support from black men. And I asked those black men, several of them, random, the election's coming up. Are you registered to vote? Are you voting? Each and every single one of them said yes. Each and every single one of them said that they're voting for President Biden. And one of them had a conversation with me that was very striking. They said in 1619, slavery started in the United States. That was the original sin against black people. Donald Trump talked about being a dictator, even for a day. And black people laid the foundation for American democracy, laid the foundation for the Capitol and the White House. So we're not going to go from slavery to dictatorship on the backs of black people in the United States.
As a wise young man that told you that. Thank you for being with us, Mayor of Milwaukee, Mayor Cavalier Johnson.